What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be looking at my current camera collection. I've collected quite a few cameras over the years and bought and sold quite a few. And I thought it'd just be fun to kind of go through what I have currently. Some new additions-ish and some long-standing cameras, which I've mentioned before in previous videos. But yeah, let's just go through these cameras, see what I got, see why I bought them, and what I think about them. The first camera is a new one. This is a Canon 40D. This is an old Canon classic. This is from the year 2007, I believe. So it's quite an old camera. I think when it first came out, it was about £1,200, £1,300 at the time. So a proper professional camera. Today, compared to modern cameras, it's not that impressive. It's literally 4 stills, and the sensor, it's a really lovely sensor in terms of its color reproduction and color science. Canon cameras, particularly of that age, from that time, produce such stunning image quality, color science that they're quite sought after by a lot of stills photographers who just love that kind of look and feel. Only 10 megapixels, so you are put in a position where you need to get your composition correct and make sure you're using the correct lenses, because there's no cropping in post with that 10 megapixel image. So I bought it for around 50 quid, the body, and what I'm getting for that is a really rugged professional body, all the dials which you want. And if you look on the back, you can see there that there's enough controls there to be able to control this in full manual mode. It's just a very cool camera to use. I've not had it for long, in all fairness, so I can't give you an absolute overall opinion, but from what I've seen and used of it so far, I'm really enjoying it. And it's definitely a camera for people who want to take photography serious and want to practice those skills, because this is a really good stills photography camera, as long as you're not planning to get these images blown up to ridiculous sizes. So yeah, the Canon 40D. Next is this bad boy. This is the Lumix GH2. Let's put that right by there. Multicam setup today, guys. 2 Canon M50 Mark IIs. This is my workplace cameras. They're all right, actually. Canon M52s, pretty good. A lot of the videos we've done for this channel that have done pretty well have been about the Lumix GH2. So I know there's a lot of you out there who really appreciate this camera. And so the GH2 is the second iteration of the GH line. Obviously, this is GH2. And you can tell that Panasonic really started to kind of get into the video aspect of their cameras, put a bit more into their video features, and like with the 720, 50 frames per second, like with the cinema mode and the dedicated record button, things like that, and using AVC HD codecs. Not really high bit rate at all, but for the time, really good. And also this sensor, color science, it's really, really nice. Even without the hack, which you can get for this camera, and it's a hack that I've used many times, you can still get really lovely video footage and stills from this camera. Has a mic input, although it's a 2.5, so you need an adapter. So you can get some really good audio with this camera too, as well as video. It's small, compact and light. It's part of the Micro Four Thirds system, so there's plenty of really good lenses for this camera. The autofocus, I don't mind. I quite often use this for talking head video YouTube stuff, and I don't mind that kind of autofocus with this camera. I don't find it too distracting, although it's not dual pixel AF or face detect, but you know. So yeah, a really good, affordable camera. You can get it around £120, £150 on the used market. You get some really fabulous lenses to go with this camera. And yeah, GH2, just a really good, solid, affordable camera if you think I'll get it into video and doing talking head stuff. So yeah, Not much more I can say about it. GH2 rocks. Next, and this is in no order in particular, mind. I'm just literally pulling out the bag. Is this the Lumix S1? This camera I bought to replace my Pocket 4K. I do miss the Pocket 4K for a number of reasons, but the style of camera, although very good for film production, wasn't really fitting for me when I'm doing kind of run and gun, one-man band kind of video stuff. You had to rig it out quite a lot to get it functioning to an acceptable level. Talking about the battery there, and also needing a field monitor because it's a fixed screen. But you cannot deny the color science and such an organic filmic kind of look to the image. So when I was choosing a replacement, I was very conscious of image quality as well and how much of that I would be sacrificing. But the S1, it's a really stunning camera, has amazing video quality, and with the Vlog you can purchase for the S1, it doesn't come built in unfortunately, but you can purchase the Vlog. You can really get some stunning images, and I've used this for a lot of short films. I've used it for a documentary recently, and I've used it for some paid work as well, and it's just a really reliable camera that shoots really lovely video. And for me, that's quite important, to have cameras that not only can produce good image quality, but ones that I can just rely on. And with the S1, there's no real need to rig it out that much. You could just get away with a spare battery in your back pocket and chucking a lens on, and you're good to go with that tilty screen and the in-body image stabilization as well. So yeah, this replaced my Pocket 4K for serious kind of video work, and I'm so glad I bought it. It's such a really good camera for video, and also there's really good stills too. If you look at the design, it's very similar to my G9, spoiler, with a top LCD screen to see your settings. So as a stills photography camera, it's really, really nice. Plus you're getting the high-res mode as well. So kind of like an older brother to the G9. So yeah, the Lumix S1, solid camera. Talk of the devil, the G9. Now I did have this Lumix G9 a while ago, and I sold it, put towards funds to fund, I was going to get the G9 too at the time, but anyway, I sold the G9 along with the original GH5 to purchase a better camera. But instantly after selling it, I did regret selling it. It's such a fabulous camera, and it is Micro Four Thirds or Panasonic's flagship stills camera, and I think it pretty much still is its flagship stills camera. You've got some really good cameras, particularly the G9 too, but just ergonomically and the layout, again, you've got the top display there for settings like the S1, the grip, the button layout, the image quality, 20 megapixel sensor. You do the high-res mode with this as well, and I picked mine up for under £400, which is an absolute steal. Coupled with the fact that it's also a very capable video camera with that 10-bit video, 4K video you can get. Obviously there are runtime limits, but for just, you know, B-roll or even a short film if you wanted to, or anything which doesn't rely on you shooting like long format, then the G9 could do you a solid. I have used the G9 for weddings, for like B-roll as well, and it's just a solid camera. So, you know, brilliant. Love the G9. This is my everyday kind of carry camera. I keep this in my works bag with a 25mm and a 14-140 Mark II, and I am just completely satisfied with that camera. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't feel like I think, oh, I wish I had a better camera. I used to have the G80 in my camera bag, and that was a really good camera at the time, but I didn't. It's a really good camera, but the way a camera feels in your hand is just so important, and it's so important for me. And the G9 does that for me. It's a brilliant camera. So yeah, Lumix G9. Next is this, the Panasonic Lumix GX7. So the Lumix GX7, this is a camera similar to the G9, which I did have, then I sold for various reasons. I think I had the G80 at the time, and I felt like I wasn't going to need the GX7. But the more I'm getting into my street photography, particularly in the daytime, in the night, I don't mind running around with the G9 or even an S5 II. Again, spoiler. I don't mind running around with the G9, but in the daytime, you want to be a bit more discreet, I guess. You don't want to kind of ruin any kind of scene that's developing in front of you. And the GX7 is such a small, inconspicuous kind of camera that really does pack a punch. And I did have the GF6, and I got that for an absolute steal. Really lovely camera. Only two things that were making me want to sell the GF6, and that was the lack of silent shutter and the lack of any kind of IBIS. So the GX7 has silent mode shooting, which again is perfect for street photography. It also has in-body image stabilization, although it's not as good as you'd find in bigger bodies such as the GH5, whatnot. But it's there, and it can help in certain situations. So the GX7 is my going out with a family, throw it in the bag, or going out doing some street photography, keeping it casual. Pair this with an Olympus 70mm f1.8 or the 25mm f1.7 from Panasonic, and you've got a really small, cool, nifty setup. I got this for an absolute steal on eBay that came with a lens, and I ended up selling off the lens, which pretty much recouped the money for the camera body itself. So yeah, GX7, fantastic camera. Next is this. This is the GH5 Mark II. This camera is, so this camera I bought instead of getting the G9 Mark II. I felt that this camera could give me everything that I was looking for from the G9 Mark II, and not everything the G9 Mark II I really need, like the 4K 120, for example. I don't need that. But this is my Micro Four Thirds workhorse film video production kind of camera. It can do anything and everything that I really wanted to do. It's got open gate, unlimited recordings, all-eye codecs, in-body image stabilization, anamorphic shooting modes, loads of tools for exposure, real pro camera. And obviously, I love Micro Four Thirds. As you can tell, I've already showed you 4 cameras now in total, Micro Four Thirds cameras. Really love the system, love the lenses, and I find pairing Micro Four Thirds with full frame, for me, there's a lot of benefits, and I like to have both, you know, Micro Four Thirds and full frame. So, and again, with the Vlog profile that's pre-installed into this camera, I can match this up with my full frame S-series cameras, which is perfect for any kind of, you know, shooting conventions and conferences or whatever else. I can match cameras quite easily in post-production. Yeah, solid camera. Sub £1,000 on the second-hand market. So if you're looking to get a GH5 II, very affordable. Same as the S1, that is now around the £800 mark in the second-hand market. So you can get some really powerful video cameras for under £1,000. So yeah, GH5 Mark II, another solid camera in the collection. Last but not least, this is a recent purchase, the S5 Mark II. So this camera replaced my S5 original. The S5 original was a solid camera, gotta be honest. And I think if you look online, and I would have to agree, the only thing which this doesn't have over the S5 original is the image quality it's a bit too sharp compared to the original S5, which is a bit more organic, kind of Blackmagic-esque Pocket 4K in terms of that organic filmic kind of look, but it's still a really great image, and you can do a lot in post to get it to look a bit more organic. For example, using the plugin Dehancer, which there's a link in the comments down below. You can get 10% off, but that's a film emulation plugin. So there are ways you can get that filmic or more organic kind of look, but out of camera, still a really lovely picture. Again, using the vlog profile, or if you want to be a bit lazy and use the natural profile, it's still a really lovely image you can get out of the S5 Mark II. The S5 Mark II also has the new dual pixel autofocus, although it's not up to like Canon standards or even Sony, but it's still very, very good and a lot better than the contrast detect autofocus, which you get in older S series and older G series cameras from Panasonic. I personally don't heavily rely on dual pixel autofocus. I don't feel like I need it, but it's definitely handy to have, and I'd be a lie if I said that it wasn't handy to have on times. Also, why I chose this over the S5 was I needed to have totally unlimited recording times. With the S5 original, you can get 4K unlimited recording, but that's only in 10-bit, and there are occasions when I'm going to need to do 10-bit 4K for unlimited recording. It pairs really well with the GH5 and the S1. Those three cameras together are a really formidable kind of trio, and for most things I do, they're absolutely ample for me and my use and my needs. So the S5 II rounds off my trio of professional cameras, and yeah, love it, love it, love it. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Just a little fun video to showcase some of my cameras which I use. Let me know what you think about my collection, and by all means, let me know what you've got at home, the cameras you use. Just get a little kind of discussion down below. Any of the cameras which I've showed you, you'd be like, I'd swap that out for this, or I'm thinking about getting that one myself, or anything you'd recommend in terms of having a collection. Have I got too many cameras? Have you got twice as many cameras? Then let us know in the comment section down below. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and goodbye.